Hello students, now we are going to discuss in this class regarding two other volatile oil containing drugs, that is coriander and fennel. And the peculiarity about these two drugs are they are umbelliferous fruits. Okay, umbelliferous fruits means they belong to the same family, Umbelliferae. You must have consumed or seen these drugs in your house, in your kitchen, in the form of dhania, which is coriander, saunf, which is fennel. Then you must have seen jeera, ajwain. All these drugs, they belong to the umbelliferous family. They are used as a spice in our Indian culture. However, they are very medicinal in nature, and that is why they are being consumed on a daily basis, so that they keep our digestive health as well as the other system working in a good way. So, we will start with coriander first. And coriander, which I already told you that it is commonly known as dhania in the western world, in the European market as well as in other countries, it is known as cilantro or Chinese parsley. These are the synonyms, cilantro or Chinese parsley, and in India we call it dhania. And here the main drug, it is not the leaves, but it is the dried ripe fruits of Coriandrum sativum. So, our drug is not the leaves, do not get confused, do not write leaves. You have to understand that the main drug which is used is dried ripe fruits of Coriandrum sativum belonging to the family Umbelliferae. So, this is the Umbelliferae family, which is generally recognized from the flowers which is seen. Okay. The flowers in Umbelliferae family are umbrella shaped. Okay. All the flowers, they are arranged in a umbrella arrangement. So, the name of the family becomes Umbelliferae, and this belongs to the Umbelliferae. So, it is dried ripe seeds of Coriandrum sativum belonging to the family Umbelliferae, and its geographical source, mainly it is cultivated in the European countries, mainly Central and Eastern Europe, in Russia, in Hungary, Africa and India. In India specifically, it is generally cultivated in the dry regions. So, in our country, the dry regions are generally the western India. So, it is found in Rajasthan, in Gujarat. Okay. So, the dry regions of Rajasthan and Gujarat are generally considered to be favorable for the cultivation of all the umbelliferous fruits, in which specifically here we are talking about the coriander. Regarding cultivation, for cultivation the seed propagation is done. The seeds are generally sown in a very dry weather, okay, and generally it is done either in March during the spring season, or it is done in the early autumn. So, both the seasons are favorable, either the autumn season means just before the winters, or after after the winters. Both the times are preferable for sowing the seeds. So, what is done? The seeds are put into shallow drills. There are small, you can say, holes are made in the ground, shallow drills are made in which the seeds are placed, 2-3 seeds at every you can say interval of half inch to 8 inches, means generally the drills which are made, they are half inch deep, and the separation between the two drills is about 8 inches, and these 2-3 seeds in every of these drills are put, and then the sand is covered on this particular drill, so that it starts germinating. It requires very less water for germination, you do not have to keep on watering it again and again, and once it germinates, it grows very well into a maximum height. Again this grows to about 3 feet, okay, maximum height is 3 feet, because generally it is consumed in the leaves are also consumed as a food. So, many of them are plucked beforehand, but few of the plants which are generally focused only for the production of the fruits, they are left as it is. So, it grows to a height of 3 feet, and it is a very slender and branched plant. It is not a very wide growing plant, it is slender, but there are many branching which are taking place. Now what is done is to collect the seeds, the entire plant is cut with the help of sickle, and then the fruits are collected. Here one important thing has to be noted, that as soon as the fruits they are ripen, what happens, that they start falling from the plant. Now when they fall from the plant and they fall to the ground, the seeds they lose their volatile oil content. Our main aim is what? We want the volatile oils, and we do not get the volatile oils from the fruits. What happens is that it gives a very disagreeable odor, and that is not acceptable. So before these seeds fall to the ground, we have to cut these seeds and then we have to use it for our purpose. So if they are cut in time and then they are removed and then they are shade dried, it gives a very agreeable odor. On drying, the odor becomes more and more agreeable. So this thing has to be kept in mind, that we cannot pick the seeds which are fallen on the ground, because they have a disagreeable odor. Now we will discuss regarding the morphology of the coriander fruit, and as you can see in the picture, the coriander fruit has a sub-spherical shape. Okay, it has more of a spherical shape, but slightly it is you can say more on a, you can say, not exactly flat like a sphere, it is somewhat it is coming up on both the sides. That is why we are calling it a sub-spherical shape. And the color, it varies from yellow brown to sometimes it can be slightly greenish in color also. It can be pale brown, it can be golden brown, it can be greenish brown in color. And the average diameter of this is around 3 to 4 mm. So they are very small seeds with a diameter of 3 to 4 mm. You can say the diameter of this fruit. The odor is completely aromatic. It has a very good aromatic odor. You must have smelled it many times, and it is also spicy in taste. When we taste it, it has that aromatic odor also. The flavor is aromatic. Along with that, it has a spicy taste. Now, what are the extra features of this particular fruit? So, if you look at it, this fruit is something like this. I am trying to draw it, and here we have a structure which is known as the stylopod. Okay, it is known as the stylopod. You can see in this picture also, you can see a stylopod which is present. Now, this stylopod is nothing but the calyx part of the flower. When it was in a flower form, it had a calyx. Remember, you know that flower has 4 layers: calyx, corolla, androecium and gynoecium. So, the calyx part, it remains on the top of the fruit in the form of a stylopod. So, we will find a stylopod at the tip, and in the lower part we find a stalk which is known as the pedicel. Okay. So, on the lower side we have a pedicel, a stalk which is joined on the you can say, if we have a sphere, a spherical shape structure, below we have a stalk which is known as the pedicel. Then on the surface we will find different kind of lines, you can say longitudinal lines which are present. Some are straight and some are wavy in nature. Okay, some are straight lines, some are wavy in nature. The straight lines are known as the primary ridges, and the wavy lines are known as the secondary ridges. Okay. So, they are the straight lines are the primary ridges, the wavy lines are the secondary ridges, and in a particular fruit we have 8 primary ridges and 10 secondary ridges. Okay. Then this fruit is a mericarp fruit. I will show you using this diagram. Now, in this particular slide you can understand. First, let us focus on the schematic diagram which we can see here. This is a transverse section, means if I cut this particular coriander fruit from the center, and if I view it from the top, I will see this kind of view. So, here it is a cremocarpous fruit. Cremocarpous fruit. Cremocarp means what? That it can be divided into 2 equal halves. If you take coriander and press it, you will see that the seed, it divides into 2 equal halves. Such fruits are known as the cremocarpous fruit, and each part of this is known as a mericarp. So, we have 2 mericarps in one coriander fruit, which is joined together by a central you can say a spot, which is known as the carpophore. It is known as carpophore, which is joining the 2 mericarps of a cremocarp fruit. Okay. So, it is a cremocarp fruit which is joined together by a carpophore, and the 2 different parts are known as the mericarps. These are the first picture which you see, the green color are the leaves of coriander, which you must have seen. These are the umbelliferous fruits, the umbelliferous flowers of the cremocarpus fruit. So, you can see that they are arranged in an umbrella shape. Because of the umbrella shape, they are belonging to the umbelliferous family, and when they are these flowers, they mature, they become the fruits of coriander. So, you must have not seen the coriander attached to the plant. Okay, you must have seen it in the removed form in the kitchen, right? Here you can see that they are attached on the stalk in a umbrella shape only. The arrangement you can see it is somewhat like umbrella only. Okay? So, this is how the fruits are arranged, and it is a cremocarpus fruit. So, we saw that it has a stylopod, pedicel, 8 primary ridges, 10 secondary ridges, and it is a cremocarpus fruit which has 2 mericarps joined by a carpophore. And the flowers are shortly stalked umbels with 5 to 10 rays. So, there are 5 to 10 rays here. These you can see they are arranged in umbrella form, and we have around 5 to 10 flowerets which are present on this inflorescence. Now, we come to the chemical constituents of coriander. So, coriander basically it is containing the acyclic monoterpenes. Okay. We discussed in the last class that what are monoterpenes. So, here also the main ingredient is known as linalool or D-linalool, which is dextrorotatory linalool, which rotates the plane of polarization on the right side, that is D-linalool, also known as coriandrol. So, you can remember easily that coriander contains coriandrol, okay, and it is the other name for coriander is what? Linalool. Okay. So, this is the structure of linalool, and if we count the number of the carbons, it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10 carbon atoms. And we studied already that monoterpenes contain 2 isoprene units, and monoterpene has the basic ring structure of C10 and H18. So, linalool has 10 carbon atoms in the structure. The other ingredients which have been identified is borneol, parathymine, as well as camphor, geraniol and various other ingredients. Okay. So, these are all the volatile oil mixture which is present in coriander, but the main ingredient which we have to remember here is coriandrol or linalool, which is the chief volatile oil content. Now, what are the uses of coriander? So, coriander is considered to be a aromatic due to its flavor. It is used, it is added in many things due to the flavor which it produces. Generally in food we use it, as well as for flavoring various medicines we use it. So, that is the purpose, aromatic. It is carminative. Carminative means what? Expelling the gases from the GIT through the oral route. It is a stimulant, it stimulates our digestive system particularly. It is a alterative. Alterative means a drug which is changing the state of the body. So, if a person is not in a healthy state, it brings the person to a healthy state. So, that alterative is not in context to any system, but is in general the health of the patient. Okay. And then the antispasmodic. Antispasmodic means that those drugs which relieve from the spasms. Spasms means contraction of the smooth muscles, means marrow. When there is any contraction in the GIT, then at that time spasms occur. So, this drug it relieves the spasm, and that is why it is a antispasmodic drug. Then it is a diaphoretic and a flavoring agent. Diaphoretic means that it basically induces perspiration, okay, perspiration. Generally in fever condition what happens, that the person doesn't do lot of sweating, because of which the temperature starts increasing. So in fever we can use it as an antipyretic, but here the term is used diaphoretic because its main action is by inducing the sweating, it lowers down the body temperature. Then it is used as a flavoring agent, it is similar to that of aromatic. Then traditionally it is also said that we can use it in rheumatism and painful joints by applying in on the exterior of the body. And the infusion, if we prepare a infusion or a decoction, infusion means when we are just putting hot water on these coriander seeds, or if we are boiling it with water and reducing the reducing the volume of the water, that is a decoction. So if we take basically infusion of the decoction of the dried food of cardamom, cardamom means what? Elaichi, okay. So if we take the dried fruit of cardamom, prepare a decoction out of it, and then we mix it with the infusion of coriander, then together they are very helpful in the treatment of sore throat whenever there is a throat infection. Then it is used in indigestion, vomiting, flatulence and other intestinal disorders, okay. So here flatulence means what? Again when the person is suffering from lot of bloating or gases, that is flatulence. So again carminative, this coriander can be used. One more use of coriander is there whenever we are giving any kind of laxative or purgative drug, okay, laxative or purgative drug or a cathartic drug. So in all these times what happens, that due to the effect of these laxatives, purgatives and cathartics on constipation, what happens, that the intestine has lot of irritation, the patient suffers a lot of irritation. To reduce that irritation, normally tincture of iodine is given, okay. It is generally administered, that the tincture of coriander should be combined with those laxative drugs. So these are the main uses of coriander. Now after this we will move to the next drug, that is fennel. Fennel, commonly we call it saunf, okay. We consume it generally after we eat our meals. In our Indian tradition we consume fennel, okay. So we consider it as a mouth freshener, but it is not just a mouth freshener, it produces a very good aroma in the mouth, but other than that when it goes to the stomach, there also it helps in digestion, it relieves, it acts as a carminative drug. So that is why this drug is also a very important component. And nowadays you will see in market that there are many things which are having this fennel flavor. There are many toothpastes, especially for kids, which are being produced. There the fennel oil is being added to enhance its flavor, okay. So kids will like that flavor. So that is why it has its uses now, applicability is increasing due to the very good flavor which it produces. Now commonly the synonym is Fructus funiculi, okay. It is Fructus funiculi, that is the synonym, okay. In Hindi we call it saunf, and in the English language, in general market, it is known as Fructus funiculi. Commonly we call it fennel. Many students make the mistake of calling it funnel. If you call it funnel, what will be the spelling? F-U-N-N-E-L, and that is a different apparatus, right. So do not get confused, you have to always pronounce it as fennel, not funnel, okay. And basically the biological source of fennel is that it consists of the dried ripe fruits of Funiculum vulgare belonging to the family Umbelliferae. Try to pronounce it with me so that it will be easier to remember the spelling, because the name is a little bit typical, okay. It is Funiculum vulgare, it is Funiculum vulgare belonging to the family Umbelliferae. So the family is the same, Umbelliferae, and what is the biological name? Funiculum vulgare. And the geographical source is, it is basically indigenous to the Mediterranean countries and Asia. So, it is generally found in the Middle East region as well as in Southeast Asia, including India. So, the main countries where it is cultivated is France, Saxony, Japan, Galicia, Russia, India and Persia. So, in all these countries the cultivation is done. In India again, due to the umbelliferous nature, it is better growing in the dry regions. So, Rajasthan and Gujarat are the best places where the cultivation of fennel is done. However, it grows in other regions also, but cultivation on a large scale is done in Rajasthan and Gujarat. Now, we go to the history. I will just discuss in brief regarding the history, because this drug has been mentioned in very old text. If we look at the older documents or literature or scriptures, we find the mention of this drug in the Roman era. In the ancient Roman era, it used to be cultivated for its consumption as a food material. So, you can understand the flavor which it had, because of it is being used since the Roman times. And Hippocrates, the father of medicine, he used to prescribe this fennel for the treatment of infant colic. Infant colic is what? When the infants they suffer from stomach pain. Okay. So, Hippocrates used to prescribe this drug for infant colic. Even after him, his follower Dioscorides, he also started prescribing it as an appetite suppressant. Okay, it reduces the appetite. When you consume fennel, you feel fuller. So, that is why it is a appetite suppressant, and also for lactation. To nursing mothers, it is, if it is given, it induces lactation. Further, Pliny, again a follower of Hippocrates, he suggested that fennel can be used to cure eye problems and jaundice. Okay. So, in eye problems it could be used, in jaundice it could be used. These are some of the mentions of all the literature or scriptures prepared by these people, Hippocrates, Dioscorides and Pliny. Even in many traditions it is consumed after food, not only in India, in other countries also. So, that is why this drug has a very old history. Now, we look at the cultivation and collection. So, generally these seeds, they are cultivated, propagated by seeds during April in ordinary soil, any soil will do, and it requires abundance of sunlight in well drained calcareous soil. Calcareous soil means that soil which has lot of calcium concentration. The plant grow to a height of 2 meter height maximum. It is a erect and cylindrical plant and takes enough space in branching. So, it has lot of branching, and the plant bears fruits in the second year. So, in the first year we will not get good fruit. So, in the second year we will start collecting the fruits, and the color of the fruits, it is generally we will see it is pale greenish brown in color. The flowers are also bright yellow to golden colored flowers, and they again have a umbrella shape because they belong to the umbelliferous family. The fruits, they are collected by cutting the stems in September and when the fruits are ripe. So, this picture is showing you that these are the leaves of the fennel, these are the umbrella shaped umbel flowers of fennel, and when these umbel shaped flowers, they pollinate, they mature, they give us the fruits. In many regions of India, this fruit is sold as it is because many people consume it in the fresh form itself, and when these fruits are removed in the dried form, we get our fennel or sauve. Now, the main characters of fennel, as we discussed in coriander, this is also a cremocarp fruit. Okay, cremocarp means what? That it can be divided into two halves, and here we can see that this fennel has been divided into one mericarp. This is one mericarp. This is a cremocarp. Then this has one pedicel and one stylopod. Stylopod is basically the remains of the calyx. Okay. Then on the surface here we will find only primary ridges. In coriander we had secondary ridges, here we will find only primary ridges. So, we find 5 prominent ridges in one mericarp. So, total how many are there? There are 10 primary ridges in this particular fennel. Okay. Then this curved side is the dorsal side, this plain side is the ventral side, and then there will be a carpophore which will be joining these ventral sides to give us the cylindrical lanceolate shape. What will I call it? Either oblong elongated or lanceolate shape of the fennel. Okay. And the general size of this fennel is about 10 mm or 1 centimeter, and width is about 3 to 4 mm. So, this is about the structure of fennel, the morphology. And we know that fennel has a very aromatic odor, very you can say the taste of the fennel is very particular. When we eat it, we have a pungent taste followed by a sweet taste. Okay. So, we have two tastes when we eat fennel. Then the color is pale green or straw colored to greenish brown. You must have also seen that the fennel comes in a variety. Sometimes it is very thick, sometimes it is very thin. That is because at the place where it is cultivated or the variety which it is cultivated, the thickness and the sizes they keep on varying. Okay. However, the main chemical constituents they remain constant. Okay. And the two main chemical constituents which are present in fennel are anethole and phencone. So, it contains about 50 to 60% of anethole and 18 to 22% of phencone, in which anethole is a phenolic ether. It is a phenolic ether volatile oil and it has a sweet taste, while phencone it is a ketone derivative and it has a pungent taste. So, when we eat fennel we have initially a pungent taste because those volatile oil containing cells break which are containing phencone. Later on we have a sweet taste because those cells containing anethole they break later. So, we have a pungent and sweet taste when we consume this fennel. Other than that, it contains pinene, anisetic acid, philandrine, anisic aldehyde, etc. Because it is a fruit, it contains fixed oils and proteins also. Coriander in the same way also contains fixed oils and proteins. Then anethole, here this is the structure you can see. Again this is a monoterpene derivative and this is phencone, this is also a monoterpene, but here we have a keto group, here it is a phenyl ether group. Now, the uses of fennel. Fennel is generally used as a stomachic. It helps in reducing the pain of the stomach, aromatic for its flavor, diuretic for you can say formation of urine, carminative to expel the gases, diaphoretic to maintain the body temperature by inducing perspiration or sweating, as a digestive and flavoring agent, enhances digestion. Okay, it gives a very good flavor. Then anethole has been studied specifically to have estrogen like activity. Estrogen like activity means the hormone which we have, the female females have in their body is estrogen. So, anethole it is similar to estrogen in its effects and it inhibits spasms in the smooth muscles. Now, because of this reason it is generally used to, because of the estrogen like effect, it is used to promote menstruation in women, as well as it is also said that increases lactation. Okay. Other than that, fennel can increase the production of bile in enhancing the digestion process and in the treatment of infant colic, pain of the intestine of infants, and few studies have said that it can be used as an antipyretic, antimicrobial and anti-inflammatory drug. And for adulteration of fennel, generally exhausted fennel is used, which is when we have already isolated the fennel oil, the structure looks as if it is the original fennel, but the oil has already been removed by the manufacturer. So, that is the exhausted fennel. and sometimes due to any kind of you can say collection error or something like that, there can be adulteration by sand, dirt, stem, weed, seeds, etc. So, it can be adulterated very easily. So, with this we finish the two umbelliferous fruits, that is coriander and fennel. In next class we will discuss about cinnamon. Thank you.